Hey everyone, did you hear? Amazon's shutting down a service a lot of people didn't even know existed. The Amazon App Store for Android phones.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I guess it's been around for over 10 years. Tried to take on Google's Play Store, but mostly it was for Amazon's own Fire devices.
Right, and now it's going away. It really makes you think about Amazon's whole app strategy.
Yeah.
Why close it down so quietly? Especially when it tried to compete with Google.
Well, to be honest, the Amazon App Store never really caught on outside of those Fire devices. It was a tiny, tiny fraction of Play Store downloads, like 0.1%.
Hmm, interesting. That actually kind of backs up what Epic Games was saying in their lawsuit against Google. They claimed Google was stifling competition.
Yeah, I can see that. So this shutdown, it's for Android phones, right? What about people with Fire tablets? Are they going to lose out?
That's what I'm wondering.
Well, it's not that simple. Amazon says Fire tablets and Fire TVs will still have apps, but they're being vague about how it'll work. Could be web-based apps or maybe a separate Fire OS app store.
So are you saying current Fire users won't see much change?
Probably not right away, but the future of those devices and what apps they'll have, who knows?
So we had this quiet closure of a service most people didn't even notice. What's the bigger picture here? What does it mean for Amazon's overall strategy?
It might mean they're narrowing their focus, shifting away from battling Google directly in the Android phone world. Instead, they're doubling down on their own ecosystem with Fire devices and services.
That actually makes a lot of sense when you think about how strong Amazon is in other areas, like online shopping and streaming. Maybe they'll use that to make unique app experiences that you can only get on Fire devices.
Right, like a walled garden.
Exactly. So is this a sign of things to come? Are more companies going to focus on their own little ecosystems instead of trying to dominate entire platforms?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? But look at Apple, Google, Microsoft. They're all building these closed systems around their stuff.
Yeah, you're right. It's all about smooth experiences within their own world. But it makes it tough to switch between platforms or use stuff outside their system.
That's the trade-off, right? You get this polished, integrated experience, but you might be giving up choices and limiting competition.
It's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Absolutely. We need to be having conversations about how these ecosystems are affecting things like competition, innovation, even our freedom to choose.
I agree,
Okay.
100%. The more we know, the better we can navigate this constantly changing tech landscape.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So to recap what we know so far, the Amazon App Store for Android phones is shutting down, most likely because it couldn't compete outside of Fire devices.
But Fire devices will still have apps, though how that'll work long term is still a mystery. This is a developing situation. The effects on developers and users are still unfolding.
Okay, so let's think about the developers who made apps just for the Amazon App Store. Now they have a choice to make. Do they adapt their apps for Google Play or stick with Fire OS?
It's a tough one. It all depends on who their target audience is and what resources they have.
This really shows the risk of relying on just one app store. If it goes away, users might lose access to apps they need. It emphasizes the importance of things like sideloading apps or checking out third-party app stores.
It really does. Choice is important. Having a diverse app market is good for developers and users alike.
So we've talked about developers and users. What about the financial side? How big of a hit is this for Amazon?
Hard to say for sure, but the Amazon App Store for Android wasn't a huge part of their business, so it's probably not a major blow. Their main money comes from retail, cloud computing, and subscriptions like Prime.
So this closure is more about strategy than struggling financially.
That seems to be the case, like they're streamlining their efforts and focusing on areas where they're already strong.
It makes you wonder if this is part of a larger trend in tech.
Hmm.
Are we seeing a move towards companies consolidating their ecosystems, focusing on specific niches instead of trying to be everything to everyone?
You're picking up on something important.
Right.
We've already seen this with Apple, Google, and Microsoft. They're all building those walled gardens around their products and services.
Exactly. They want those seamless experiences within their ecosystem. But it often makes it hard for users to switch platforms or access services outside of that specific ecosystem.
It's a double-edged sword. It can make for a more polished, integrated user experience, but at the same time, it can restrict user choice and stifle competition.
So what does this mean for the future of tech? Should consumers be worried?
It's a trend to watch closely. As these ecosystems gain more power, we need to be having open discussions about how they might impact competition, innovation, and user freedom.
Couldn't agree more. Staying informed and involved in these conversations is crucial as the tech landscape keeps evolving.
Absolutely. What stands out to you about this whole Amazon App Store situation?
The timing. It's interesting, don't you think? It suggests that Amazon has a clear vision for its future strategy. The tech industry is changing so fast. We've got advancements in artificial intelligence, the metaverse is on the rise, and there's a growing emphasis on decentralized technologies like blockchain.
I see what you're saying. By closing the App Store, Amazon is freeing up resources and focus to invest in these new areas.
Exactly. It's like they're getting ready for the next big thing in tech.
Precisely. They're clearing the way for innovation. The shutdown might seem like a small thing, but it could actually be a sign of much bigger changes happening behind the scenes at Amazon, and maybe even in the whole tech industry.
It's definitely a fascinating time to be following the tech world.
Absolutely. So much is changing so quickly, and that's why we love doing these bite-sized tech talks.
Exactly. We want to help you stay ahead of the curve and understand what all this means for you.
Right. And this situation with the Amazon App Store, it's a reminder that the tech landscape is always changing. What looks like a small change today could have a ripple effect and change how we use technology in the future.
Well said. Before we wrap up, any final thoughts on the Amazon App Store?
I think the main takeaway is that this is just one piece of a much larger puzzle. Amazon's making strategic moves to position itself for the future, and it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out in the years to come.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for breaking it all down for us. It's been another great bite-sized tech talk.
Always happy to chat with you and our listeners.
And to everyone watching, thanks for tuning in. If you like this video, please click the like button and subscribe to our channel.